Hi friends, good day. I hope you might have gone through in the last class. In the last class, the invoice price loading effect I have explained you. Today, in continuation of that, what I am going to tell you is that today, what is the loading effect? Why should one take loading effect? Just briefly explain. Then, when we work out the problems, you'll understand that. So today's class, you'll be learning about the loading effect. Loading effect is nothing but difference between invoice price and cost price. Loading effect is invoice price. IP means invoice price minus cost price is loading effect. I'll give you a simple example to explain this. Why one should remove the loading effect. In order to find out correct profit on consignment of goods, you need to eliminate loading effect. So in order to find out the correct profit on consignment of goods, you need to eliminate loading effect. This is point number 1. Point number 2 is to find out profit or loss on consignment. Consignment account is opened. Consignment account is opened to find out profit or loss on consignment. Consignment account is opened, which is like a trading comma P&L account. Which is like a trading comma P&L account. That we'll be learning in the due course. Now maybe today we'll be learning the entries also. To find out profit or loss on consignment, consignment account is opened, which is like a trading or profit and loss account. So I told you in the beginning today, in order to find out correct profit on consignment of goods, you need to eliminate loading effect. To find out profit or loss on consignment, to find out profit or loss on consignment account is opened, which is like a trading comma P&L account. The pro forma we'll be learning. Now before that, I told you why loading effect is to be eliminated. Simple example. And this consignment account, and one more thing, this consignment account is prepared. This consignment account is prepared by consignor. This consignment account is prepared by consignor. Okay. Here we got in the material consignment account. The purpose, the consignor prepares a consignment account related to each consignment in order to ascertain the consignment profit or loss on each consignment. Consignment account is a nominal account like trading comma P&L account. Okay. We have learned these two, no? Is a nominal account like a trading and P&L account. So debit items, if you see, consignment account is debited with cost of goods and consigned, expenses incurred by consignor, expenses incurred by consignee, commission due to consignee. So how many points we are having? 1. Cost of goods consigned, expenses incurred by consignor, expense incurred by consignee, commission due. These items will appear on the debit side. Credit side, consignment account is credited with sale proceeds, abnormal loss and closing stock. A simple words, it's like a trading account, P&L account. Why we have learned is that goods sent on consignment debited means goods that has been sent is an expense, no? And while sending the goods, consignor will be incurring expenses. That expenses, consignee may be incurring some expenses. That expenses will be debited, and commission that is payable to consignee is also expense. So simple words, you can remember that left hand side will be having goods sent on consignment. Here pro forma also has been given. Goods sent on consignment, consignor expenses, consignee expenses, commission. We have learned delicate commission entries. We discuss later on. Entries, leave it. Just I am telling you the items, main items. We discuss the entries. Just a minute. So goods sent on consignment, consignor expense. I am only focusing on this. Consignee expenses and commission. That is bad debts is not there. This we discuss. If the bad debts is a delicate commission is not paid, bad debts is to be debited to consignment account. We have discussed that consignor has to bear the bad debts when the delicate commission is not paid. If delicate commission is paid, consignee himself has to bear the expenses. So consignee expenses, consignee commission. Simple words. Come on, once again repeat. Goods sent on consignment, consignor expenses, consignee expenses, consignee commission. This is about delicate commission, etc. We will learn. We will discuss that later on. Credit side, sales, abnormal loss, like we have learned in final account, goods lost by fire, closing stock. These things later on we discuss. Come on, point number 1, goods sent on consignment. Point number 2, consignor expenses. Point number 3, consignee expenses. Point number 4, commission. For the time being, remaining things we discuss later on. I repeat once again, all of you, just you revise yourself. Goods sent on consignment, consignor expenses, consignee expenses, commission. Credit side, sales made by consignee, because we are sending the goods to consignee. Consignee will be selling the goods. Goods damage in transit or fire accident. That we discuss. What is transit meaning? We discuss. You all know about that final account you have learned. Goods lost by fire is called as abnormal loss. And consignment stock, closing stock. Clear to all of you? I think these things we have learned. Okay, now coming back to the problem, remaining things we discuss. So coming back to this, told you now why you should send the goods. It means goods sent on consignment are 2 ways you can send. Goods sent on consignment, GSC means here goods sent on consignment, can be at cost price or it can be at invoice price. At cost price, say for example 100 rupees is cost price. I know the cost price is 100, but I am sending it 120. What do you mean by that, sir? When I am sending goods to consignee, I know consignor knows that what is cost price 100. But intentionally at the time of sending the goods, consignor is sending goods to consignee at inflated price. Inflated means overstated price. Overstating. Why overstating, sir? Because he doesn't want the consignee to actual cost price. This is a business strategy. Business strategy. What is business strategy? I think a roadside vegetable vendor or roadside fruit vendor, and who sells fruits or vegetables, they are very clever than a learned intellectual, so-called intellectual person. They know. By looking at the customer face, they feel that these people are going to bargain, they inflate the price. If you want to buy, you went to a vegetable vendor, roadside vegetable street vendor, and you ask, what is the cost of tomato? He says 70 rupees. अरे क्या भाई 70 रुपीज़ क्यों? बहुत महंगा है सब, क्या करेंगे 70 रुपये? मेरे को भी 60 रुपये में से मैं मार्केट से लेके आया, मैं कम से कम मेरे को 10 रुपये मिलना है ना. एंड व्हेन यू आर अबाउट टू लीव, बोलो साहब और एक बात बोलिए, देंगे. यू आर आस्किंग से 50 रुपीज़. ही सेज नो सर, 50 रुपीज़ मेरे को नहीं होगा, मैं 60 रुपये मेरे को गिरा साहब, मैं 5 रुपये कम करूँगा. Then finally, when you are going to leave that particular place, he say finally 60 rupees. Actually, the price may be for him 50 or 45. This is what, because nobody really wants to disclose the cost price. If we disclose the cost price, you feel that the price is selling at a price which is more than the cost price. Of course, everybody wants to add some percentage of profit. The seller of a goods will definitely, if he can sell on cost to cost basis, it is a not for profit making organization. Right. As a trader, I want to earn some profit. So now the same thing. Now this is invoice price, and consignee after adding something, he will be good selling the goods at selling price. That is different. That selling price may be 120 or that selling price may be 100. That is different. That we are not talking about for the time being. For the time being, so now let me tell you simple goods sent on consignment account briefly. Just I have to explain loading effect only. I am telling you. So what is cost price? 100. Let me say that at the time of sending the goods, this is consignment account. Goods sent on consignment, say 120. Consignee has sold these goods for 140. This is invoice price. This is selling price. Consignee has sold goods after adding 20 rupees, has sold goods for 140. Can you tell me what is the profit? Only two items I am telling. This is goods sent on consignment, assuming that all the goods have been sold. 140. What is the profit? 20. Do you agree this is a real profit? Do you agree? Is it real profit? No. You know that it's not a real profit. Why? What is the actual cost price? 100. To get the profit is actual SP minus CP. 140 minus 100 is 40 rupees profit. But by preparing this, you are getting profit of 20. That means this is a wrong profit, no? This is what I told you. To find out correct profit on consignment of goods, you need to eliminate the loading effect. You need to eliminate loading effect. What is elimination of loading effect, sir? I told you, loading effect is nothing but difference between invoice price and cost price. Here, what is invoice price, sir? Loading effect is difference between invoice price and cost price. Loading effect. Invoice price and cost price. What is invoice price? 120. What is cost price? 100. What is the difference? 20 rupees. 20 rupees. This is called as loading. This is to be eliminated. If this is eliminated, then we can get correct profit. Then why the goods are sent by consignor like that, sir? To conceal the profit. He don't want the actual cost to be disclosed to consignee. If consignee knows actual cost, he may be asking for more commission. That is why he don't want to disclose this to anybody actually. Not only consignee, he don't want to disclose to anybody. Only who knows that? Consignor knows that. After completing all the transaction to find out the correct profit, then he will be making these adjustments. So, but at the time of sending the goods, he has recorded goods at invoice price, no? At invoice price. So, to find out the correct profit, what is that you should do? To get 40, you should deduct 120 minus 20, then it will become 100. 140 minus 100, 40 you will get it, no? Generally, we do in accounting, for removal of it, we will be taking on the other side. Other side means the loading effect will be taken to the credit side. Same GSC you write. But we write here loading. What is loading effect, sir? I told you 120 minus 100. What is loading? 20. Now you can see 140 plus 20, 160. 160 minus 120. You are getting a correct profit of how much, sir? 40. Clear to all of you? So if you don't remove the loading, that means the excess price is being removed. Is called as loading effect is removed. Loading effect is removed. This is what is called as removal of loading effect. This removal of loading effect will enable you to get the correct profit. So generally loading effect will be there. This particular loading effect concept in consignment chapter you are learning, branch account, department account, CA enter. These two things are very, very important in CA enter, group on financial accounting, branch accounts and department account. This concept is really very, 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 very important. Okay, we discuss that later on. Now it's just I am telling, giving a hint to you, the removal of loading effect. Now the second thing is that this loading effect is also to be removed on the closing stock also. So we need to remove loading effect on two things. One is at closing stock, the other one is a goods sent on consignment. But at the time of sending the goods, to have a uniform entry, generally when you are sending goods at invoice price, we record it invoice price. Otherwise I will be forgetting. Tomorrow in discussion is going on, whatever I record, I speak to them at the same price, no? That is why consignor, when he is sending the goods at the price which he is sending the goods, this pro forma, this is very important, you should understand. they will be using the term proforma invoice. Proforma invoice. Proforma invoice may be at cost price or maybe at invoice price. If I am sending at invoice price, entry will be at invoice price. If it is at cost price, I record at cost price. Please remember, goods are sent to consignee. In the problem, you will be confused sometimes. Proforma invoice can be at cost price. Proforma invoice can be at invoice price. If proforma invoice is at invoice price, then definitely we should record that goods sent on consignment at invoice price. If proforma invoice at cost price, you should record at cost price. Then the question of loading effect does not arise. The loading effect question arises only when you are sending the goods at invoice price. Clear to all of you? So this is one thing I thought of sharing with you. So today we have learned, that is the reason why to find out the loading effect, we are having different situations. Last class I have told you 1/2 of CP is equal to 1/3 of SP, like that. That concept is very, very important. So loading effect we are having on two things. One is in goods sent on consignment. The other one is unsold stock. I think this is what has been given here. Now you can see. By goods sent on consignment, loading on goods sent. Consignment account to goods sent on consignment, loading will be taken on the other side. Close, I told you loading is also there on closing stock. No, this is closing stock. Loading on closing stock here. See, when this is at invoice price, loading is important. If this is at cost price, loading is not important. If it is at cost price, which is not important, loading is not important. Now, if it is at invoice price, loading on goods sent will appear on the credit side. And then also the closing stock also at invoice price. To remove the loading effect, you will be taking on the debit side here to consignment stock reserve. So loading effect is there on two things. Come on, tell me where you are having. On at the time of goods sent on consignment, at unsold stock. The entry will be goods sent on consignment to consignment. Entry for loading effect on unsold stock, consignment account data to consignment stock reserve. So these two things you should be good in it. I think this is what I thought of sharing with you. Now today I am going to give you the entries part first, then we can come back to the few discussion I told you. Actually I thought of sharing the entries in the next class, but before I go for the working out of unsold stock, valuation of abnormal loss, I thought of after completion of it, first let me complete the entries part, then we will be knowing and what are the things we need to calculate. As I told you in the last class, this is important point, how to calculate goods damaged in transit or fire, how to calculate unsold stock. I think these things we discussed with examples. So today first let me start with the entries for journal entries in the books of consignor. Okay, clear to all of you? So let me start going for entries. So note down journal entries in the books of consignor. 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 First one, I have written the heading journal entries in the books of consignor. Journal entries in the books of consignor. First entry. Entry for goods sent on consignment. Entry for goods sent on consignment. Consignment account debtor to goods sent on consignment. Consignment account debtor to goods sent on consignment. Now here note, you remember, if goods are consigned at cost price, it is to be recorded at cost price. Cost price means actual price. If goods are consigned at IP means invoice price, it is to be recorded at invoice price. IP means invoice price. Are you following? This is what I told you. If you are sending at 100 rupees, you should record it 100 rupees. If you are sending at 120, you should record it 120. Next, second one. Entry for expenses incurred by consignor. Entry for expenses incurred by consignor. Consignment account debtor. Consignment account debtor to cash or bank. You may be paying expenses. Or to outstanding expenses. Suppose if expenses is due, you know, expense to outstanding. I told you consignment account is like a nominal account. That is, if any, if outstanding expenses, if any. Okay. So now here I wish to take you to expenses part, my dear friends. Okay, I come back to that just a minute. After writing consign expense also, select entry for expenses incurred by consignee. I told you consignee also incurring some expenses in regarding consignment. Now here I wish to tell you one thing. Okay, expenses incurred, consignor expenses are always non-recurring. Or they are also called as direct expenses. Remember, consignor expenses are always non-recurring expenses. What are that? I'll share it with you. But here, consignee expenses may be recurring or non-recurring. Sir, what is recurring? Non-recurring are also called as direct expenses. I told you. Consignee expenses are recurring or non-recurring, or they are also called as direct expenses. Clear to all of you? Entry for expenses incurred by consignee, recurring or non-recurring. They are also called as direct. Non-recurring expenses are called direct expenses. So what is direct or non-recurring? The expenses which are incurred for bringing the goods into saleable condition is called as non-recurring or direct expenses. The expenses which are incurred for bringing the goods into saleable condition. Now consignor, whatever the expenses consignor is incurring for bringing the goods into saleable condition, till he sell the goods, till he dispatch the goods, whatever the expenses incurred by consignor is non-recurring. Only non-recurring means only once he will be incurring the expenses. But expenses incurred by consignee can be recurring or non-recurring. So let me give the entry, then I'll come back to, I told you I'll be telling you what are non-recurring expenses, etc. The entry will be consignment account debtor to consignee account. consignment account debtor to consignee account. It can be recurring or non-recurring or direct expenses. Then the other name for non-recurring is also called as direct. Entry is consignment. So who is the giver of these expenses? Consignee. That is why we are creating consignee, because these expenses are not paid by consignee. After goods received by consignee, he will be incurring the expenses. He will be incurring non-recurring, means he will be paying only once. Sir, simple example to explain you. The non-recurring expenses of consignor will be like we can say loading charges, unloading, carriage, insurance in transit or octroi. Here I will be giving you the list of non-recurring expenses are direct expenses. Non-recurring expenses are direct expense. Example: loading expenses, comma, unloading expenses, comma, carriage, transportation, carriage, comma, insurance, comma, dog dues, comma, octroi. These all are comes under direct expenses. Direct expenses are those expenses which are incurred for bringing the goods direct expenses are those expenses which are incurred for bringing the goods into saleable condition is called as direct expenses. That means for selling the goods or for dispatching the goods, till you dispatch the goods, these all are. It can be incurred by consignor or consignee. Loading expenses, you need to load the goods for sending the goods. No, unloading. Now the unloading expense generally will be incurred by consignee. You need to, whatever after loading, he need to again take out those goods from transportation vehicle, and he needs to again load into his own vehicle. Then he need to take his go down. Carriage is transportation. Insurance here, insurance means insurance in transit, I mean to say. See, insurance in transit means when goods have been sent, you need to take you don't want to take a chance, so you need to take insurance policy. Nowadays, whenever you want to move goods from one place to other place, even the transport authority is also supposed to produce an insurance receipt. Otherwise, the checkposts, they are not permitting to move the goods because they risk. Nobody wants to take a risk. So, but of course, you need to incur some expenses. That is what dog dues, shipment of the goods, and for that you need to pay clearing charges, dog dues, etc. Octroi for moving goods from one place to other. These all are called as direct expenses. Here also we got in our material information of expense has been given. Non-recurring, which are incurred only once and a particular lot of goods. Non-recurring, till the goods arrive at the consignee's go down. Loading expenses, unloading, handling expenses, carriage to go down, dog dues, customs duty, and clearing charges. Customs duty also we can take as a example. Few examples I have given: octroi, customs duty, clearing charges. These also you can take, add. So these all are the expenses incurred by consignor and consignee. And B, recurring expenses. Recurring expenses are means repeatedly you keep on incurring. Generally, these recurring expenses will be incurred by consignee only. Recurring expenses will be incurred by consignee only. Will be incurred by consignee only. Clear to all of you? Because consignee recurring means after getting the goods till he sells the goods, he keep on incurring some expenses. That also information has been given. You can see recurring expenses. Expenditure incurred for more than once on any particular lot of goods are called recurring. In other words, expenses incurred after the goods arrive at consignees go down are called recurring. Example, go down rent, selling expenses, advertisement, carriage outward, salesman commission. I need not write this. Go down rent, selling expenses, advertisement expenses, carriage outward, salesman commission. These all are called as, come on, tell me, recurring. Go down rent, you need to keep on every month till you dispose the goods, you need to pay, or it is also called as warehouse rent. Selling expenses, yes, you need to appoint a salesman and you need to pay commission to salesman also. You need to pay transportation charges, it is also called as carriage outwards. I think these all are the expenses you need to incur in order to sell the goods. Generally, I told you, for the, you can take it for granted, consignee expenses are all, consignee expenses can be recurring and non-recurring. Consignor expenses always, as I told you, non-recurring in nature. This also I have told you, given here. Consignor expenses are always non-recurring, but consignee expense recurring or non-recurring. The same examples list you can copy down. What is that I said? Here, go down rent, selling expenses, advertisement, we can also add one more thing, go down insurance. Selling expenses, salesman commission, carriage outward. For selling the goods, sometimes they will be bearing the, in simple words, whatever we have shown in profit and loss account, sales expenses, carriage outwards, etc. When you sell the goods, you need to pay some expense. These all are the examples of recurring expenses. So we have learned the entries for, so far we have learned the entries for, come on, first entry, tell me, consignment account data to goods and on consignment. And this also I have told you here. If goods are consigned at CP, it is to be recorded at CP. If goods are consigned at IP, recorded invoice price. Okay, so this is covered. The next, so we have seen so far the entries up to expenses incurred by consignor and consignee. Next, we need to go for, I think you might have got the clarity on the expenses. Direct expenses are those expenses which are incurred for bringing the goods into saleable condition. Indirect non-recurring expenses are also called as direct expenses. And recurring expenses are generally will be incurred by consignee after once the goods have been received by him. Okay, these two entry I have given to you. For expenses incurred by consignor, consignment account data to cash or bank. And if there is outstanding expense, very rare cases we come across. Entry for expenses incurred by consignee, consignment account data to consignee account. Okay, next. Fourth entry. Entry for sales made by consignee. Entry for sales made by consignee. That is both cash and credit sales. For both cash and credit sales, entry is Consignee account debtor. Consignee account debtor to consignment account. We debit which account? Consignee. That's it. Next, entry for commission. Entry for commission payable to consignee. Entry for commission or commission of, right, commission payable to consignee or commission of consignee, we can say. Consignment account debtor consignment account debtor to consignment account debtor to consignee. Here I wish to give you an entry when there is a delicate commission, when there is a delicate commission, when there is no delicate commission. Here this I wish to, I have already explained you, when there is a delicate commission what will be the treatment, when there is no delicate commission what will be the treatment. So if consignor is paying delicate commission, if consignor is paying delicate commission, who has to bear this expenses? Okay, so for that purpose what I am going to tell you here, I am going to give you, normally this is the entry we write, here I am giving note, treatment of commission in case of bad debts. Treatment of commission in case of bad debts. Treatment of commission in case of bad debts. In this, point number 1. If there is no delicate commission, you know, if there is no delicate commission, who has to bear the loss? Who has to bear the loss, my dear friends? Consignment, the consignor. The entry will be, we have also learned here, bad debts, consignment to consignee. For bad debts, if there is no delicate commission, that means who has to bear that, my dear friends? Consignor has to bear. That is why he will be debiting consignment account debtor to if there is no delicate commission, entry is consignment account debtor to consignee account. Point number 2. If there is a delicate commission, if there is a delicate commission, no entry is needed in the books of consignor. No entry is needed in the books of consignor. Clear to all of you? So far we have seen entry for sales made by consignee account at R2, consignment, both for cash sales and as well as credit sales. Entry for commission payable to consignee, consignment account at R2, consignee. Here I have given entry for a commission payable to consignee. If there is no delicate commission, for bad debts also entry will be same. Treatment of commission, not commission, treatment of, sorry. I was telling treatment of commission means no delicate commission. Treatment of bad debts. If there is no delicate commission, consignment to consignee. This is the entry for bad debts. Is this clear to all of you? So the entry for commission will be same. Consignment account at R to consignee. Treatment of bad debts. If there is no delicate commission, entry will be consignment account at R to consignee only. The reason is that bad debts are also going to be borne by the consignor. Now you can see common thing for expenses incurred by consignee, consignment to consignee. Have you noticed? For commission payable to consignee, consignment to consignee. If there is no delicate commission for bad debts, entry is also same. So I think you can remember three entries same. What is entry? Consignment to consignee is same for expenses incurred by consignee, commission payable to consignee, bad debts because of no delicate commission. The entry is same. We debit consignment because it's a loss and we need to make a payment to whom? Consignee. Clear to all of you? And sometimes we'll be getting what is that called as advance. Note down the next one, entry. I'm writing this entry just to identify, to highlight the point. Which entry, which number? Sixth one. Entry for advance received from consignee. I am writing if any. If any means if you receive. Consignment account at R, not so consignment, sorry. You can receive cash, or you can receive check, or you can receive bills of exchange. Advance can be three ways: cash, bank, or bills receivable account at R. Who is the giver? Consignee. Entry for advance received from consignee: cash or bank or bills receivable to consignee. Seventh entry. These two are very rarely, that is why I am writing using red ink to highlight this point. On getting the bills receivable received from bills receivable discounted. Suppose if advance is in the form of bills receivable, the entry will be, you know, you learned in bills of exchange chapter, sir. Bank account debtor, discount account debtor to bills receivable account. I told you this discount will not be transferred to consignment account. This discount will be transferred to where, my dear friends? Profit and loss account. this discount account is transferred to profit and loss account. Okay, so this is these two entries. This entry will come only when bill is discounted, bills receivable discount to the banker. So this entry will be there only when there is an advance. If there is no advance, no need to write this entry. But and similarly, this entry I have written if there is no daily credit commission. Whatever I have been writing in the red ink, very rarely you come across. The blue ink indicating these are the regular entries which you should be remembering. These entries which will be coming across in the problem. Clear to all of you? First entry for goods sent on consignment, second entry for consignor expenses, third entry for consignee expenses, fourth entry for sales, fifth entry for commission. Because commission entry I have written commission is calculated on sales. We have learned last class how to calculate commission. We got three types of commission: ordinary commission, delicate commission, overriding commission treatment we have learned. And then comes the entry for advance received, or on getting the, once if you receive the advance in the form of bills receivable, then we can you can discount it if there is discounting of a bill, etc. I think these things we have learned. Now next one, my dear friends, after this we need to go for this is eighth entry. Entry for unsold stock. Entry for unsold consignment stock. Entry for unsold consignment stock. Consignment stock account debtor to consignment account. Note: if goods sent on consignment is at invoice price, then unsold stock also should be recorded in invoice price. Unsold stock is also to be recorded at invoice price. If goods sent on consignment is at invoice price, then unsold stock is also to be recorded at invoice price. Clear to all of you? Now here the next important point: a removal of loading effect in case of goods sent on consignment is at invoice price. Okay, removal of loading effect in case goods sent on consignment at invoice price. Clear to all of you? I told you already, loading effect is the difference between, I've already told you, loading effect is the difference between invoice price and cost price. The loading effect is to be eliminated the loading effect is the difference between invoice price and cost price. The loading effect is to be eliminated to find out correct profit. To find out correct profit. Is this clear? Loading effect is eliminated to find out correct profit. So the entry here, I am continuing that entry number, which is the number 9th one. I am giving total information. Depending upon the problem situation, you can work out. For removing the loading on goods sent on consignment. I'll be telling you, my dear friend, this logic will be important for branch accounts, particularly you will receive well when you can understand the consignment concept. For removing the loading on goods sent on consignment. Just what is entry for consignment, for what is entry for goods sent on consignment, goods sent on consignment, you reverse it. Goods sent on consignment account debtor. Goods sent on consignment account debtor to consignment account. Okay. Goods sent on consignment to consignment account. Here loading is the difference between IP minus CP. Similar 10th one. For removing loading on unsold stock. What is unsold stock? Unsold consignment stock. What is entry for unsold stock? We have learned. Consignment stock to consignment we have learned, no? Reverse it. If you reverse it, what will happen? Consignment account debtor to consignment stock. Then you suffix reserve. Consignment account debtor to consignment stock reserve. Here also again same. Difference between invoice price and cost price. For removing the loading on unsold stock, it will appear on the debit side. Consignment stock will appear on the credit side. Loading effect will appear on the debit side. And we don't have any problems, but I am giving you this year closing stock will become opening stock for next year, no? So our last year close unsold stock will appear this year opening stock. So we will be writing for removing the loading on opening stock. We don't have any problems as such in our material or in CA study material. But remember, for removing, because this year closing stock like last year closing stock is at invoice price, definitely you might have learned, you have written the stock reserve. The next year it will become opening stock. For removing the loading on opening stock, you will just reverse it. What is the entry? Consignment stock reserve. In case if anything you are having in the problem, if you don't have any loading effect on opening stock, don't work out. If it is only given in the problem, you record it. But generally we are having problems on this one. We don't have any problem on this. Okay. But I am giving the entry sake. For removing loading on opening stock, consignment stock reserve account debtor consignment stock reserve account debtor to consignment account if there is any loading effect on opening stock. Otherwise, as per our problems, we are having only these two things. Clear to all of you? So we have learned about the entries for loading effect also. Okay, entry for loading effect on unsold stock and also unsold stock either at the beginning or unsold stock at the end. Now the 12th entry will be treatment of abnormal loss. We will be learning how to calculate abnormal loss, but let me give you Sometimes there may be an abnormal loss. Abnormal loss means, abnormal loss is nothing but, we have learned that goods lost by fire. When goods have been sent by consignor from Delhi to Hyderabad, goods might have been lost in transit. This is what is called as abnormal loss. Or after it reaches the consignee premises, if fire accident has occurred, it is called as goods lost by fire at the premises of consignee. So two losses you will be having here. Goods lost in transit, goods lost in fire at the premises of consignee. These all are called as abnormal loss. How to value abnormal loss we will be learning. But before that, let me give you entry for abnormal loss. Clear to all of you? Let me give you an entry for abnormal loss. So write the, let us start writing entry for or let me give you treatment of abnormal loss. Treatment of abnormal loss. Here we are having two things here. Valuation of abnormal loss we will discuss later on. We discuss later. B, first you need to, before going for recording, we need to calculate abnormal loss. How to value that abnormal loss we will discuss later. Then accounting treatment. Suppose here A, when insurance policy is taken, see at the time of sending the goods, as I told you, our go down insurance taken to protect the goods lying in consignee premises. This is what is called as when insurance policy is taken. Insurance policy is taken for goods in transit, or insurance policy and insurance policy is also taken for protecting the goods in the consignee's premises at go down. So in both the cases, if insurance policy is taken, entry for full compensation received. For full compensation received. This really very rarely it happens. For full compensation received, you debit insurance company account debtor if due, or bank account debtor if received. Received. 2. Consignment account. Insurance company due or bank account received, account debtor to consignment account, because 10,000 worth of goods have been lost. I got the amount of 10,000 rupees, gross amount. Complete gross amount has been received. It is as good as like a sale for me. I lost 10,000, I got 10,000 back. I'm very happy. Now the thing is, second point. Compensation received partially. Partially means, say 10,000. Say 10,000 is goods lost by fire or goods lost in transit. 8,000 I have received. What is the amount that has not been received? 2,000. So the entry will be then insurance company account debtor that is for due. Due means insurance company has admitted claim, you are not received, or bank account debtor. And compensation, this is for claim admitted. It is called as claim admitted. Claim not admitted. So 10,000 is the actual loss, but insurance company has admitted 8,000. So this claim admitted 8,000. Claim not admitted 2,000. This will be debited to which account? Profit and loss account debtor. Insurance company account or bank account debtor to bank account debtor, P&L account debtor to consignment account. Is this clear? Alternatively, generally we are having problem on this. Alternatively, for partial claim received, the entry will be I'll do one thing for both. I'll give you. Alternatively, here full compensation received is nothing but is also called as full claim. Full claim. Alternatively, we can write entry for full claim received. For full claim admitted. 10,000 lost, 10,000 they have admitted. We can write entry like this. A. We can use the term abnormal loss. Abnormal loss account debtor to consignment. Consignment. B. Insurance company account debtor or bank account debtor to abnormal loss. Now you can see abnormal loss credit, abnormal loss debit got cancelled. Entry is insurance company to consignment. No, the same thing we have written. Insurance to compensate. Insurance account debtor to consignment. So this is alternative one. We can write also like that. When you need to compulsory use abnormal loss account, when he is asking you to open abnormal loss account, this entry you need to write. Otherwise, when he is not asking abnormal loss entry, we can write these two things. Are you following? Please remember these entries we can write when abnormal loss account is not being asked. If abnormal loss account is being asked, you should go by this. Now, for claim admitted partially. For claim admitted partially. A. Entry. Abnormal loss account debtor. Abnormal loss account debtor to consignment account. Okay. B. Insurance company or bank account debtor, profit and loss account debtor to abnormal loss. Or in the examination, sometimes they'll be asking you to open loss in transit account. In place of abnormal loss account, you use the term loss in transit. You need to go by instruction in the problem. Loss in transit, goods lost by fare, they are also called as abnormal loss. You learn these entries in final accounts. Come on, you can see abnormal loss account got cancelled, insurance company account debtor, P&L to consignment, no? The same is the net effect. So please remember, here I am writing a note. When in the question is asking you to open abnormal loss account or it is also called as loss in transit account, etc., then second alternative is must. Otherwise, for doing the problems, first alternative is okay. We can follow first alternative. So this is alternative. This is second alternative. This is first alternative. This is first alternative. This is first alternative. This is second alternative. When insurance policy is taken, this is first alternative. Which one? This one. Okay. First alternative. You may say, there is no insurance policy. Entire amount is transferred to profit and loss account. Generally, we are having problems on insurance policy. Nobody will take risk. I told you. Very rare cases. If there is no insurance policy, what will happen? Entire loss will be transferred. It will be created a consignment account, and entire loss will be transferred to profit and loss account. Clear to all of you? Now, here I wish to give you one more note. One more note is that you are sending goods at invoice price, no? When you are sending goods at invoice price or abnormal loss, how it is to be valued at invoice price or cost price? That is what I am telling you. Abnormal loss account is to be credited. Abnormal loss account is to be credited to consignment account. Consignment account at cost price only. At cost price only, even goods are consigned at. Even goods are consigned at invoice price. Even goods are consigned at invoice price. Even goods are consigned at invoice price, it is to be recorded at cost price only. Clear to all of you? Abnormal loss account is to be credited to consignment account at cost price only. Even goods are consigned at invoice price. Even though you are consigning goods at invoice price, but still it is to be recorded at cost price only. Because you claim to insurance company, can you go to insurance company, my cost price is 100 rupees, my invoice price is 120, can you pay 120? He will be laughing at you. The reason is that can you expect insurance company to give you more than what more than your cost price? No. That is why why you are consigning at invoice price. The reason is that you want to conceal the profit. You want to hide the profit. You don't want to reveal the profit to consignor, consignee. That is the reason why you will be sending the goods at invoice price. A very detailed explanation I am giving you, time consuming, but you should remember, you have to listen to this class if you want again and again. Then the entire total picture in the limited time which is given to me, in the sense on the screen I am explaining, the limited time I am trying to explain, cover each and everything, every aspect, so that you should not find any difficulty. So in entries part I have given you the abnormal loss treatment as well as loading effect. Now finally we can go for ascertainment of profit or loss. Clear to all of you? Finally we can go for ascertainment of profit or loss. Now two things here we will be discussing later on is that how to value abnormal loss, and please remember here I am writing, we will be learning later. In the next class we will be learning how to value unsold stock, how to value loading effect. These two things will be we have learned how to value invoice price, how to value abnormal loss, how to value unsold stock. That we have to learn. Two things we should learn. Valuation of unsold stock. So here I am writing, we will be learning in the next class. We will be learning this is just for information. It's not, don't copy it down in the notes. We will be learning in next class how to value closing stock and abnormal loss. We have learned today only accounting treatment we have learned. Please try to understand. We have learned how to pass entries we have learned. But we should learn how to value closing stock and abnormal loss. This we will be learning in the next class. This is tomorrow. Tomorrow we will be learning. Now today class is not yet completed. We need to complete the profit or loss, no? Okay. So we have learned the entry for unsold stock also, no? Just I am cross checking. Yeah. Consignment stock to consignment. Up to this is consignment stock to this is for unsold stock. Yeah. Consignment stock account data to consignment account. In consignment account credit side you write by consignment stock. Next, after completion of this, we can go find out the profit or loss on consignment. Next entry. The entry number will be 12th is completed, no? 13th. Entry for profit or loss on entry for profit on loss on consignment. A for profit. Consignment account debtor to P&L account or some others, they suggest general P&L account. If you are having more than one consignment, they will be opening an account called a general P&L account. That general P&L account, you will be transferring that profit as a trader, profit on different consignments by one is from P&L account, one is for consignment account. But in the examination, if you can even write P&L account also, just for information I am giving. Consignment account debtor to P&L account or general P&L account. For loss, you reverse it. Come on, loss. P&L account or general P&L account. General P&L account is nothing but consolidated account. Instead of writing everything to P&L account, you can also open you don't want to merge this with that, we can transfer general P&L account. But generally we will be following this one, P&L account only. P&L account at R to consignment account. Or even write general P&L account, there is nothing wrong in that. For profit, consignment to P&L account for loss. Then 14th entry, then what happened? The goods sent on consignment account is having some balance that is also to be completed. This goods sent on consignment, from where you are getting? As a trader, I purchase the goods. From that, suppose 10 lakh worth of goods I purchase a trader, out of which 5 lakhs worth of goods I am transferring to where? Goods sent on consignment to Delhi. So that means by following matching principle, in order to find out the actual stock which is with me, I need to deduct goods sent on consignment account from purchases. That is what I am writing. For transfer of, we are having one problem on this, we will be knowing that. For transfer of goods sent on consignment. For transfer of goods sent on consignment, entry will be, the reason I have told you, even reason you will be knowing when we work out the problem. For the time being, just remember the entry. Goods sent on consignment account at R. Goods sent on consignment account at R. To trading account or purchases account. For transfer of goods sent on consignment, entry is goods sent on consignment account at R to trading account or purchase account. Now, sir, here I am writing, if he is a trader, transfer to purchases. If he is a manufacturer, transfer to trading account. Because from where you got these goods, the goods which are purchased for my trading activity, those goods I am transferring to consignor. That is the meaning of it. Okay, from the goods from where you got, the goods which are purchased in actually as a trader, from that particular part I am transferring a portion of goods to consignor. That is the meaning. It is also called as matching principle. So here I am giving a note. If consignor is a trader, transfer goods sent on consignment to purchases account. But if he is a manufacturer, transfer to which account? Trading account. If consignor is a trader, transfer goods sent on consignment account to purchases account. If is a manufacturer, transfer trading account. In the examination, even if you can write both, there is no problem, or simply write trading account. No issue, it's not a problem at all. Just this is for your information, I have given these things. And lastly, finally what happened, as I told you, the consignee, after completion of these formalities, he will be settling the amount. If he is making the amount for final settlement, that we should write the entry for final settlement. Made by consignee. Entry for final settlement made by consignee. Cash account / bank account debtor to consignee account. That's it. Then with that, consignee account is also closed. So now, to have a clarity, I am telling you, the ledger accounts to be maintained in the books of consignor are as follows. Number 1, consignment account. Number 2, generally third account we open only when he is asking in the examination. If time permits, you also can open this one, goods sent on consignment. The ledger account should be maintained in the books of consignor are follows. And note, abnormal loss account if required in the problem. Abnormal loss if required in the problem. Clear to all of you? Abnormal loss if required in the problem. Now, I think just let me quickly sum up the entries so far what we have learned. These entries you can kindly note down in the notes. Definitely there will be a question from this. Entry for goods sent on consignment, consignment account data to goods sent on consignment. Entry for expenses incurred, consignment account data to cash or bank or outstanding expenses. Entry for expenses incurred by consignee, consignment to consignee. Entry for sales made by consignee, consignment account data, consignee account data to consignment. Entry for commission payable to consignee, consignment account data to consignment. Treatment of bad debts. If there is a no delicate commission, consignment account data to consignee, because who has to bear the bad debts? Consignor. If there is a delicate commission, no entries needed to be, there is no entries needed in the books of consignor because consignee is going to bear the expenses. If there is an advance, cash account data, bank account data, bills receivable to consignee, on getting the bills receivable discounted, entry bank account data, discount account to bills receivable. And don't ask me, sir, if bills receivable discount is dishonored. You have learned in the bills of exchange chapter. Okay, this discount account is transferred to P&L account. Entry for unsold consignment stock account data to consignment. Consignment account will be created. Removal of loading effect in case of goods sent on consignment invoice price. For removing loading on goods sent on consignment, goods sent on consignment to consignment. For removing loading on unsold stock, consignment account data to consignment stock reserve. For removing loading on opening stock, consignment stock reserve account data to consignment. Treatment of abnormal loss. This we will be discussing later on. Valuation of abnormal loss we discussed later on. Accounting treatment when insurance policy is taken. When insurance policy is taken for full compensation received, entry insurance company account data, bank account data to consignment account. Compensation received partially means full compensation. 99.9% you won't be receiving full compensation. This is what we'll be having in the problem. Are you following? Partially means you will be asking 10,000, you will be paying 8,000 because they are having their own calculation. Insurance company account data or bank account. Insurance company account you debit when it is due. If you receive the amount, you can debit bank account. Otherwise, you can debit insurance company. This information generally will be provided in the problem. Insurance company account data, profit and loss account data to consignment. Alternatively, by opening abnormal loss account, we can do this. For full claim admitted, abnormal loss to consignment. Insurance company to abnormal loss. Insurance company, abnormal loss got cancelled. The entry will be the same. For claim admitted partially, abnormal loss to consignment. Insurance company, claim admitted, profit and loss account, claim not admitted. P&L account, claim not admitted. Debited P&L account, loss to abnormal loss account. Abnormal loss account got cancelled. We can write insurance company account data, P&L account data to consignment also we can write. When the question is asking you to open abnormal loss account or loss in transit account, etc., then second alternative is must. This is second alternative I have given. Okay. Otherwise, for doing the problem, first alternative is okay. Abnormal loss account is to be created to consignment account at cost price only. Even goods are consigned at invoice price. How to value we discuss later on. Entry for profit, consignment to P&L account or general P&L account. Loss for transfer of goods sent on consignment, goods sent on consignment to trading or purchase. If consign is a trader, transfer goods sent on consignment account to purchase account. But if it's a manufacturer, transfer to trading account. Entry for final settlement made by consignee, cash account / bank account debtor to consignee. The ledger accounts is to be maintained in the books of consignor or consignment account, consignee account. Goods sent on consignment account, generally normally we don't open. Normally we open these two accounts. As per the problem, third account can be opened. Abnormal loss account also as per problem. These two as per the problem we have to open. If you got the time, you can open third account also. But this is not must. If you got the time, say time management is the key. Slowly you will be learning the significance of time management when you are writing the examinations. Is this clear to all of you? So the consignment account for pro forma has already been given. Format of consignment account. This is in the books of consignor. Now these things we have already learned, no? This is first account. You can read consignment to goods sent on consignment. You feel this is easy rather than entries, but entries are also important. But most of the problems we are working out on ledger only. Consignment to goods sent on consignment, consignment to bank, consignor expense, consignment to consignee, consignee expenses, consignment to consignee, bad debts if there is no delicate commission. Whatever we have learned so far, half an hour class, very simple. 2 minutes you can complete. Consignment to consignee. So no need to panic about this. Sir, entries I have to give. It's my duty to give the entries. But I think finally this is important. Consignment to consignee commission. Now, consignee to consignment sales. Goods damage in transit by fire, or it is also called as abnormal loss. Consignment stock closing. And I told you, if there is an invoice price, you remove the loading here. And you remove the loading on closing stock. Generally, opening stock loading effect is not there at CA Foundation. But if it comes, gives also, you can learn, no issue. But the same stock reserve concept is important for branch account and department accounts at next level at CA Inter. I'm talking about treatment. It's not the consignment, but it's a treatment I'm talking about. So this is first account we have learned. Similarly, you need to open one more account that called, as I told you, we need to open consignee account, and we also need to open goods sent on consignment account also. Is this clear to all of you? So this is first account. What I do, I will be giving the second account also. In simple way format you can remember. Okay. See, we have seen already first account, just to have a clarity, so that you can, even if you don't remember entries also, you can complete the problem. That is my intention of explaining the things to you, my dear friends. So already I need not copy down. I need not copy down the entire account which is there. See here, I have already told you. In the books of consignor, this is first account. Which account? Format of consignment account. This consignment account I have opened. You look at format, remove the format. In the books of consignor, first account is consignment account. Then second account I am writing here. Consignee account. Acha, one more thing, you also can say consignment account is a nominal account. Just remember, you know, personal real expenses and losses. And here only profit or loss, only one will appear. You don't have both profit or loss, only one will appear. So whatever so far I have given the entries, all are there here. Next. Consignee account. Consignee account is personal account. Only transactions involving consignee. If advance is received, cash account debtor, you write cash. Or check is received, you write bank. If bills receivable is received, you write bills receivable. This is brackets advance received from consignee. Entry cash account debtor, bank account debtor, bills receivable to consignee. This entry we have written already. Just I am giving the format. Now entry for expenses incurred by consignee. Entry consignment account at consignment to consignee. In consignee by consignment. Brackets expenses. The next entry, consignment account debtor to consignee, commission also same. By consignment, it can be delicate commission, it can be ordinary commission, it can be any commission. Entry will be same. You don't have any separate entries for separate commission. For all types of commission. For all types of commission, this is the entry. Clear to all of you? Then, consignment account debtor to consignee account debtor to consignment we write. This is for sales, total sales, cash plus credit sales. And finally, by cash, bank for balance received. If balance received. If balance is not received, or when balance is due, that means not received, you can write by balance carried on. Please try to understand. If he is making payment, we write by balance, by cash or bank. If when balance is due, we can write by balance carried on. Only one will appear, both won't appear. Partly is paying, partly due, we can write by cash and by balance carried on. Is this clear to all of you? This is for balance. Or by balance carried down, by balance carried down, when balance due, when balance is due. Clear to all of you? So only one will appear. This is the pro forma of Consignee account maintained in the books of consignor. The next account which we need to open is goods sent on consignment. Some people say it is. Some people say it is as it has. Some people say it has a nominal account, but some people say it is a nominal account because if purchase is nominal, this is also nominal. If purchase is real, it's real. But I think we go by real only. Please remember, if purchase, this is information I am giving, no need to worry. Even if you don't know, nothing will happen. If purchases is real, this is real. If purchases you treat as a nominal, you treat as a nominal. But ICI material purchase they are treating as a real now, we have learned already. So this is also real account. So the entry consignment to goods sent on consignment, here by consignment account. Suppose if there is any loading effect, we learn the entry goods sent on consignment to consignment. Loading on goods sent on consignment, that's it. And I told you balance in goods sent on consignment is transferred to trading or I told you trading account slash purchase account. Reason I have told you, if he is a manufacturer, you transfer trading. If he is a trader, you transfer to purchase account. Clear? Clear to all of you? This is what 3 accounts you need to open, and if needed, you in the examination is asking you to open abnormal loss. That abnormal loss account you can open by entries. No, you can open abnormal loss by entries. Clear to all of you? This is how you should be doing the problem. So 3 accounts. First account, tell me. First account here I have given consignment account. Second account, consignee account. Followed by third account, goods sent on consignment account, which the nature is real account. Okay, so I'm concluding today's class. Okay. This is amount in rupees, just it. With this, I am concluding today's lecture. Okay, my dear friends. So next class, I told you we will be discussing about entries in the books of consignee, but 99.99% we haven't seen in the problem. In the problems, we don't have any single problem asking you to go for consignee account. But having said, we don't know ICI material is even also I am not sure, but I think to my knowledge, you don't have any problem based on consignee account. But that also we will learn in the next class. Next class we will be learning how to value abnormal loss. We'll be learning how to value closing stock. We'll be learning, and how to prepare, how to write the entries in the books of consignee. We'll try to learn, and one problem will start. So with that, at the basic concepts, 3 classes we shall be able to finish up. Then we can start problems from next class onwards. Okay, we'll meet in the next class. Till then, goodbye. Have a nice day. God bless you all.